And I would have to say, on 914, I would even more so consider Lux a solo lane champion, as the shield got heavily nerfed, but her damage is even a little bit better. Some nerfs here to Yuumi when we went over them, but as we saw in the last game, CoreJJ was just fine, and even though you can't get your mana back after jumping off with your empowered auto, works out pretty similar to what we have seen in the past in competitive Yuumi play. Sejuani picked up here for Santorin, and this may be a champion where he can be the front line for the team. He is the initiator with the Sejuani. As soon as you get that ultimate, you are making a play.
Let's see if he can do that for them here. What else do they want to draft with this? Are we going to see a nice big meatball comp? Or are we going to see a bunch of artillery cannons who just happen to have a brick wall in front of them? 4 seconds left to choose. And all right, we got some power coming out in the bottom lane there. Love to see WildTurtle on champions with some outplay potential like the Kaisa.
All right. Kaisa, also one of the big things about her that I really like to highlight is that she can join fights from a very long distance. And WildTurtle has always been an AD carry player that likes to join those fights. So I really like him on this champion. Gives him a lot more mobility and a lot more killer instincts, true to his name. All right, you get some big eyeballs there, Captain Flowers, for the Qiyana hover.
I'm watching.
Not quite yet. Could be even a jungle champion, by the way, as we have seen, but it is going to be Svenskeren back on that Jarvan.
Well, if you want a bot lane that is hard to kill, Ezreal with a cat attached means he will be able to kite for days and days and days and days and days.
Lots of projectiles.
Yeah, seasons change, time passes by, Ezreal's still kiting. There is very, very big problems trying to initiate onto this champion, especially with Yuumi attached. We'll see if FlyQuest can do it because they are going with the Nautilus. We saw this played as the support counter to Yuumi last game. Arrow and Big, when they got help, were able to find kills on the duo of Doublelift and CoreJJ, but because the dredge lines weren't properly lined up, they weren't necessarily popping off 2v2. We'll see this time around if Wadid can dial those in a little bit more accurately.
Yeah, again, a lot of that bottom matchup is going to swing on jungle presence. That's kind of why we've had our eyes on the Svenskeren versus Santorin matchup. And we'll try and track their time spent, especially in the early game. It's always so interesting because so much of the decision-making is down to the junglers. Here's some solo lane bans, though. A lot of these possible, pop-off solo lane players, Viper and Licorice are both, carry top lane players. So Aurelia taken out, Camille taken out, both possible solo lane champions that can run away with the game if ganked for successfully.
And there's the Poppy that we saw last time around, those 9.14
Like
buffs.
I said, carry champions!
Yeah, carry champions. Maybe I think they're banning TFT Poppy with the new Busto Hammer.
Yeah, big
slams everybody. But Cloud9, you got one more ban to go. Obviously, we're looking at those solo lanes. We'll see what they continue to prioritize. They know they're up against Viper, who's known to pop off on carry champions. High mechanical demands when he's given the chance. And hey, there's a carry with a lot of mechanical potential. So Qiyana not getting picked this game.
We have heard some tell that Viper is a very good Qiyana player. So actually not always a mid lane ban. We already saw it flexed into the jungle, so it could as well be a top lane ban there. And with the spicier ones you were looking for banned out, Captain Flowers, you get the old and steady here. Aatrox is locked in with the ready counter pick of the healing reduction Kled, already being hovered over by Cloud9. Now, 914. We did get to see some of this in the LEC already, but Kled now on 914 on the pullback on that bear trap, 60% healing reduction, more than you can even get from items, is locked in. And it also means you're going forward in the game when there's Kled with that ultimate.
Yasuo versus Twisted Fate here in the mid lane. FlyQuest, they give last pick to Pobelter, and they use it to draft him a Yasuo. If that's not putting faith in the man, I don't know what is, Kobe.
All right, this is going to be a spicy one. This is one of the matchups I'm sure the Balance team had in mind when they made these changes. Aatrox got the self-healing amplified from 40% on the last patch, now 50% just level 1 when you pop your ultimate, but Kled got the added healing reduction there for 60%. So this is the theory counter is supposed to take place in the top side, the battle over healing. But as we all know, the true trump card to that is jungler presence.
Yup, it's all coming down to the junglers. We're talking about bottom lane, we're talking about top lane, we're talking about the jungle. Mid lane, another place where it could make that difference happen. I'm looking at Pobelter and Nisqy so much in this game too, because Pobelter is not traditionally the guy that you looked at and thought of these pop-off 1v9 carry champions like Yasuo. Pobelter was a guy who played more supportive mid laners. Malzahar was one that he was playing a lot when he found success at international events. I want to see if he can do it, because I'm not sure. We've seen some very up and down games from Pobelter so far. And I want to see if it works here on the Yasuo. He's got knockups. He's got a Sejuani. He's got an Aatrox. He's got a Nautilus. The tools are there. It's time for the faith to be rewarded and see if POB can pop off.
Yeah, there is insane synergy and a lot of possibility for these early brawls. Sejuani passive works so well with melees, so he's got double melee solo laners and a melee support on the bottom side that wants to go all in. Literally every lane should be active!
And we're gonna flash in. Fight's already gonna be starting here at level 1. Nisqy looking to get himself away from that one. Aatrox not finding those knockups, but it's the bear trap on a rope, bringing Viper right back in. Flash out for the FlyQuest top laner, and the level 1 fight is going to settle down. Now everybody's going back to base, and while we have only a moment to breathe before minions spawn, I want to throw things over to a sideline report with Ovely and Reaper.
Thanks, guys. Reaper, we just saw them scuff it out in the mid lane. I want to ask what your first reaction was to that first.
Oh, it's actually angle. It was good. It was a good level 1.
All right, well, now I want to ask about Deftly, because he's the surprise sub and the surprise trade that no one expected. So tell me, how's he going to do on this team, and why was he subbed in this week?
So we are looking for a 7-man for playoffs and for the future. So Kumo and Deftly is most gonna likely compete at that spot. So giving them time to play and prove them are worth it. So that's its process right now.
Now, is it already decided over them versus the Golden Glue Svenskeren that you guys were carrying on with last year?
Probably for now, yeah.
Awesome. Well, best of luck to you and the team for the rest of the game. Back to you guys.
I love when we get those insights to the possible, inner workings of the teams. And it actually puts a bigger spotlight on this bottom lane now. Definitely is on tryouts on this stage right now, trying to earn a spot as one of the subs heading forward for those best of 5s.
I mean, you heard Reaper's words. This is his chance to prove he's worth it. That's quite a lot to be put on you when you're just now joining the team, but it's also a really cool opportunity.
Prove it!
Time to show what you're made of. Definitely trying to get himself back here. Santorin's there, Wadid is there, he's gone fishing, and they found exactly what they were out there for. That's first blood over to FlyQuest.
Wow, what a rough start to the tryouts here as he gets ganked so early. And I really want to highlight how incredibly early that is, because this is one of the longest routes. We saw this at MSI from the European teams, and immediately the North American teams picked up on it. Here's how it plays out bottom. It's immediately Sejuani, Santorin walks in there, able to get the knockup, and Wadid lines that one up. He didn't even have flash, by the way. Wadid used his flash in the level 1 in mid lane, and that was going to be a huge disadvantage for them. However, he's able to get it here because of the setup from Santorin. And let's take a look at it once again. We can further examine, because this was a red buff route all the way down through here, through no vision, around to the gank bottom side. So that is the earliest possible gank for a bottom lane to have to worry about on the side of C9, knowing that is a red start for Santorin. And that is something that happened to North America twice at MSI and has since been used by multiple teams here.
An award was placed in the tri-brush there by Cloud9 to prevent a return gank from happening, and it's a good thing it was, because Santorin had already revisited this bottom side. You can see he used the sweeper to clear out the vision that he was on top of. He'll continue farming up, and yes, Svenskeren counter jungled a little bit while the play was made, but that's a trade that you will take any day of the week, as Licorice is controlling this top lane here, has the farm edge over his opponent. Pobelter shoving Nisqy back on this TF. Nisqy with the kleptomancy, just trying to land those auto attacks, get the gold income flowing.
All right, trying to push the lane out here with Pobelter here. Santorin softening up the cannon minion. Svenskeren joins though. Now it's a 2v2 in the mid. Can they finish off the wave?
Santorin throws out the flail, but doesn't really find much with it. Pobelter backing himself away now. They would have had the cannon minion there to help out the 2v2 if Cloud9 decided to take that fight for whatever reason, and Nisqy was very low, so C9 just wants to chase him away and then relax a little bit. And back here on the bottom side, without the flash available on Deftly, that means this Ezreal is punishable if Wadid is able to line the dredge lines up correctly and bait out the arcane shifts.
Yeah, that was a big, big turning point because as we saw the example in the game 1 of today, where Team Liquid had the Yuumi lane with Lucian, very similar. Lucian does have a dash as well, so super mobile and hard to land those skill shots from the Nautilus for your all-in. But if you get a successful one this early and blow the flash, it really relieves a lot of the possible pressure that comes out of, you know, spam projectile as well as mystic shot damage from C9. Even so, though, you see how far Turtle and Wadid are playing back now. They know that they are also a possible target of jungle attention.
Svenskeren hasn't found a whole lot to do just yet. I mean, we saw him mid lane when Santorin was also there, but neither of them were really going for a big play to make. Instead, he's just farming up here on the Jarvan, letting himself scale up. You can see he's got the Skirmisher Smite in inventory, so he's at least able to be an extra bit of a threat that way, but no chance to make a play happen here on the bottom side. Nice hook coming out there from Wadid. WildTurtle and Wadid forcing out the 2v2 here. Svenskeren making his way back down into the bottom lane, but he's on top of a ward.
I was a little bit, I was curious why Wadid uses Ignite there, because they had full vision of Svenskeren. I'm pretty sure they knew they weren't going 100% for the kill, and it was just going to be a punish, but Wadid actually uses the Ignite. They cut some healing and you get your tiny bit of damage anyways, but you usually want to save that for the all-in.
Yeah, it's Yuumi. It's not like you're going to shut down all the healing she can do for the next couple minutes.
And a lot of her healing is, percentage health missing based anyways, so getting her lower means she will be able to heal. Well, Svenskeren does track Santorin down on the second visit here.
Both junglers will be arriving towards the bottom part of the map. As Santorin throws out the flail, everybody disengaging with Wadid at only half HP. FlyQuest doesn't want to take this fight.
And look at the positioning on this minion wave. WildTurtle may actually teleport back. It's really right up against the turret here, so definitely can just kind of prune this minion wave. You don't want to let them grow too big because then it'll be hard to manage, so you take out a little bit of them, but denying a lot of CS during this recall here for WildTurtle is going to allow Deftly to catch back up and probably surpass a little bit in that CS. Now, WildTurtle doesn't want to teleport back out into a dark map. You can see there is no ward for them currently in the Tri-Brush, plus Jarvan could come over the back of the Dragon Pit, so just going to walk on back and lose a few of those minions.
Now, Pobelter's level 6 in the mid lane. Santorin will be approaching level 6 here soon, and one thing that I think is very important to point out about this game, so often you see mid laners against Sejuani's take cleanse because of how powerful the CC lock on the champion is. Nisqy has not done that. He is playing strictly for the late game macro potential with the teleport here. And that means that if Santorin and Pobelter are able to find the combo and that initial CC from Sejuani onto this guy, 100% dead, flash doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think he's just possibly looking at all of the knockups on the team and he's like, you know what? That would be maybe a drop in the bucket. There's so much CC on this team. Whatever. Literally every other person on the team except for Turtle is going to be bringing some form of crowd control for FlyQuest. And that is why in Champ Select we were thinking, FlyQuest, this is a all-out brawl team. If this was a TFT game, like a lot of these champions are going to be classified as brawlers.
FlyQuest will continue farming up for now. Back in the mid lane, you can see the phage in the inventory of Nisqy means that it is absolutely going to be the Trinity Force auto attack style Twisted Fate. More powerful in the 1v1s, very effective split pusher, has a little bit more HP as well. The top side, full on 1v1 between Viper and Licorice. And you can see Licorice putting those grievous wounds to good work here as Viper's taken down to about half HP. Licorice gonna continue looking to find the all-in here as Nisqy shows up with the gold card. Viper can't outplay it, and Cloud9 get away. Nice kill.
And Licorice didn't even have to flash there. It took one more tower hit as the D-mounted Kled. No summoner spells used, really good coordination with the Twisted Fate ultimate. Nisqy's able to get up there, and they get the first kill for Kled. That's going to start a snowball, and Licorice is going to be very difficult to deal with. Santorin, though, going to take the Constellation prize. Infernal Drake is actually a very powerful prize for the mid laner going to the top side, and then Nisqy recalling and using his teleport back to mid lane. FlyQuest actually decently happy that at least they're able to get the Infernal Drake off the back of that top kill.
Turtle and Wadid are eating a little bit of damage here. The Prowling Projectile will find some slow, but with Svenskeren hanging around, FlyQuest have to be careful to not push up too far. You can see Svenskeren patiently waiting in that drive rush just to make sure. But let's take another look at how this happens top.
All right, goes all in with the Kled. You can see the bear trap on the rope, pulls him back, and he's able to get the healing reduction. Goes all in. Huge damage early from those vicious strikes. He lands his second bear trap on the rope. That's when they know they're going to go on. Viper tries to flash to get some sustain there so he can heal tank basically under the tower because he knows he's not going to be able to flash away from the Twisted Fate. There was no distance that he could gain to get out of that gold card range. And he goes down. Burning the flash as well is going to be dangerous for a repeat gank. Meanwhile, though, River play.
Svenskeren walking up into the face of 2 FlyQuest members, and he's just way too far forward. His TP's coming down everywhere as Deftly comes over the wall. Cloud9 could be in trouble. Wadid's gonna fall down next. Nisqy flashing away, keeping himself alive. More damage coming through. Santorin's trying to kite away, and he will be kept alive. Licorice now pressured to run himself back as well as WildTurtle goes forward the way only WildTurtle can as they continue to chase down after Cloud9. Viper's able to clean that one up, and FlyQuest get exactly what they're looking for.
That is exactly what we mean when we say they're looking to brawl, Captain Flowers. FlyQuest able to find the fight. 2 members in the river there. Svenskeren was expecting less maybe, but as soon as the knockup lands, boom, Yasuo is there. We talked about in the last game, Yasuo mid lane could just join the fight from a screen away as long as there is a knockup there, and they immediately remove Svenskeren from the equation. And with the extra members here, yeah, so he sees Wadid and Santorin. Maybe he thinks they're not going to be able to hit that knockup. That's insane. They're able to kill him. He flashes and stopwatches. Then all the teleports come through, but the damage has been done. FlyQuest are able to go full steam ahead. They get the counter kill there on the side of Cloud9 because they rotate up and they take down Wadid, but Santorin gets out, so it's only the 1 kill, and as you know, they finish the chase.
We're not done yet. Licorice gonna charge into the bottom lane after Viper gets most of his health bar, but won't take the entire thing, and Viper will be allowed to back himself up here, and we'll see what Deftly can do here in the top side. Looking at how he's stacking up here in his main stage game. He does have a farm lead up against his opponent in WildTurtle, sitting on 1 kill, 1 death so far, up about 400 gold. Gonna keep an eye on him as we keep scaling into the mid game, into the late game. See what he can do on a champion where positioning is so critical for Ezreal. Everybody's had the Ezreal in their solo queue games. It's the auto-killed AD carry, just playing it so they don't get killed a lot. But you gotta make sure you're in a good enough position to find all that damage as well. Wanna see what he can do as the True Shot Barrage doesn't find much. But Viper will keep farming up bottom.
Nice cast there of the anchor from Wadid. Even with stun landing, already has the pull, so it's able to finish up. It does cause Cloud9 to start up this Rift Herald though, and it looks like it will be uncontested, even though a lot of FlyQuest members milling around in the background there on your screen, as you can see, not doing a whole lot of anything as they watch the Rift Herald go down. C9 happy to pick up that objective. We'll see if they can turn it into any plates. They have plenty of time to use it, over a minute here to try and cash in.
Right, and although FlyQuest didn't contest Shelly, because they knew that everybody was going to be around there, they saw the wall, the ward of the wall from FlyQuest from the side of Cloud9. It means Cloud9 does not want to immediately just walk top, drop Shelly, because they know that's a contested objective. Instead, Svenskeren will head back onto the bottom side of the map. You can see a, hey, this is warded, I'm clearing it out ping coming out from Svenskeren there as he picks up his own red buff. Fight 1v1 continuing on the bottom side here. We'll see if Svenskeren can intervene in that, but I highly doubt it, considering the fact that Licorice is already dominating the 1v1 anyway.
Yeah, Licorice feeling quite good there, especially after the early Twisted Fate gank. See how it changes as Viper does hit level 10, has his Black Cleaver, so the more cooldown reduction really helps Aatrox quite a lot. Jungle pressure though as Svenskeren heads down here, and also pops the eye for Licorice. They really want to get this Kled ahead, snowballed. So this is 13 minutes and 45 seconds. They have 15 seconds to finish this one up. Cha-ching!
It's enough. That's an extra 320 gold in the pocket. Do we have enough time to get that last plate, Cloud9? Looks like... Okay. I was worried there for a second. They started attacking minions for some reason. I was like, but all right, calculated. I'm just going to give it to them. They planned it.
It's money in the bank, you know? Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Laid away for a rainy day. Shell even gets the second charge off with 35 health.
That is a heroic use of talent as well. Able to get a decent amount of damage onto the secondary one. There's a tally, by the way, of all the turrets. With that last Rift Herald usage, Cloud9 barely pull ahead with the extra ones taken. FlyQuest, though, back out onto the map. They want to get Dragon number 2, and it's been a reset for C9. Nisqy can teleport on Twisted Fate, and it brings Yuumi with them. So they could bring 2 people with the Twisted Fate, but the Dragon's burning down.
Well, here comes Cloud9, not willing to give it away without a fight. Dragon gonna continue to be targeted for now. Viper getting himself away into the middle of everything goes everyone, and Santorin's gonna be on a killing spree. Cloud9 overcommit, and WildTurtle will find the first kill. Nothing can be done by the Kled. Nothing can be done by Cloud9 except for a single kill that definitely picks up onto Viper, but it's another FlyQuest fight.
Cloud9 dive face first into the melee team composition here, right into that CC. They get annihilated, and the kill does come from Deftly on the top side, getting the better of Viper in that one. Here's the teleport, though, and them starting it out. Kled charges in. Nisqy, along with Yuumi there, jumps in, but Giant Ultimate is able to stun them up. Then Wind Wall blocks a lot of the rest of the damage there. Pobelter playing really well on the Yasuo, finds the knockup onto the backline, and they stun up and take down that backline threat as well. You are looking with an eyeball at Pobelter, Captain Flowers. So far, he is 3-star Yasuo.
I had my doubts at the beginning of the game during Champion Select. It didn't seem like a Pobelter pick, but he's up 45 CS. He's got kill participation in 6 out of 7 of the kills. He's on point so far as we continue forward into the mid-game. 16 minutes in now. Only 1 turret taken, and it was that first turret with the Rift Herald down there in the bottom side. But now Pobelter's pressing up towards this outer turret in the bottom side. Level 12 to the level 10 of Nisqy.
And he's got friends. Biggest part about Yasuo is that Yasuo players should be team players, because Yasuo...
Ironic, isn't it? Ironic.
Well, that's what we're getting at.
You spend the time hoping that your teammates pick specific champions and then type me Yasuo only in Champ Select.
Plenty of knockups on this team, though, and FlyQuest are using them very effectively. Bottom side is under pressure. You can see all the question mark beings that went down there from the side of Cloud9. Licorice is doing his best to get these advantages on the Kled, constantly charging in on Viper. He knows he can get that advantage, but on the bottom side of the map, opposite story.
And I gotta give Viper credit for keeping the farm pretty much dead even, because every time we pan our camera to these top laners, it's Licorice just smacking Viper around on this Kled. He seems to always get the better of him in the trades. Svenskeren positioning off to the side of mid lane here, not really much to do, but hanging out just in case. Chicken camps are being cleared out. There's nothing to really fight over at this point in time. Baron's not on the map for another 3 minutes. Drake's not on the map for another 3 minutes. Viper makes his way back into topside now after having healed up. And we're just going to continue seeing the farm wars for a while.
Yeah, and the farm wars are being won by the one true god, POB. 184 here on the Yasuo, who does not have teleport, but is doing a better job getting all those minions pushed on the side lanes, then joining the fights here. Especially because he had a lot of early focus and was able to get that early kill onto Svenskeren, you know, funding the static shiv. It's one of the best feeling items as soon as you complete it, because Yasuo just annihilates minion waves with it.
The sound is so crisp too. Zap. Immediately feel cool when you're zapping all the minions. I like that item. That is my favorite item to build in a game on any champion. When you just know the game's over, it's 20-2 or something, you know they're gonna have that. Build it on anyone. Fantastic piece of equipment there in League of Legends.
Classic Skarner item. I'm a little bit worried because I know
Static Shiv Skarner, the one true meta. The ultimate, the Giga Chad, if you will.
Electro Chad.
Yeah. Electrocute for even more lightning bolts if you need them. But back to where we're at right now. It's control over the topside river for FlyQuest. You can see neither side really has much vision in enemy territory, which leads me to believe this game is still very much a coin in the air for where it's going to land, which also leads me to believe the next team fight should be pretty big for determining who's going to have the momentum here moving forward, as Baron will be on the map in a minute.
And it's really interesting to examine this as well, as FlyQuest all move up to the top side. They should be able to get some damage done on that turret. Cloud9 do answer, but we talked about it a bit on the topic of the substitution here for Cloud9.
Oh, that's a big catch! Wadid waits for the Yuumi to walk just too close, and the perfect dredge line aim means they set it up and they'll take the turret.
Yep, a wind wall does go down. They get a little bit damage on it, but Nisqy comes through with the gold card, walks around the edge, damage onto WildTurtle, and FlyQuest do pull off. But yeah.
All right, I overestimated the reward for the play, but it was still cool to see. I get too excited when I see Yuumi's get picked off.
Yeah, exactly. Nice. Also, another fan in the crowd there does like seeing Yuumi get hit with skill shots right out of the brush, though. The sneakiest anchor is the brush anchor, Captain Flowers. Wadid's able to fire that one for Fog of War, so it reduces your time of dodging. Yuumi is notoriously slow because doesn't have to buy boots because usually attached to a champion. Doesn't have flash because usually attached to a champion.
Yeah,
and
that's why I
not
just
able to
refer
dodge
to her
that because usually attached to a champion.
I really just want a skin where she's a real loot pinata, but now we're going to see if Viper can survive here in the top lane. Cloud9 trying to collapse with 3 different members. The Charge, the Twisted Fate ult, everything committed up here for this play. They will get themselves the kill, but what comes after? Tier 1 turret nearly going to be taken down here. FlyQuest cannot collapse for anything afterwards, and it's a good move from C9.
Yeah, Cloud9 have had it with the dirty Aatrox pickers, I guess, because they are trying to camp Viper relentlessly. Does allow them to also push the mid lane, and you can transition down to that Infernal Drake. Some question mark pings go down on Pobelter. He has plenty of damage to solo this dragon, so should be able to finish that one up quickly. As you can see, the crits are coming through. Infinity Edge on top of the static shift.
100%. Crit every single time, and now we'll see what he wants to itemize towards next. Sometimes we see Life Steal, sometimes we see Guardian Angel, Sterix Gauge. Usually some sort of defensive option will come up here in item number 3 so we can jump into those back lines and feel better. But honestly, the thing that I'm keeping my eye on here is just the fact that he's still building his farm lead. Look at the top part of the screen right now, the overall FlyQuest gold difference. This is a team that is so far behind, so often behind at 20 minutes into the game, and this time around, they are leagues ahead.
Yeah, this is the 9th place team. Maybe also why C9 using substitution time here on stage, and maybe underestimating FlyQuest. We're fighting back very strong. 21.5 minutes into the game, though. We might want to start turning our eyes towards Baron. That is the next neutral objective that FlyQuest can try and use. With this type of composition, where they're very brawly in nature, they have a lot of hard CC and shorter range champions. You want to use the neutral objectives on the map, namely the Baron and the Dragon here, to draw the enemy team out away from their turrets so that you can make use of all these shorter range champions and the hard to engage at your disposal.
And man, I want to give credit where credit is due. We're talking about Baron, which means smite fights are going to come into play soon, which means we're going to talk about junglers. And we said how so far this split, Santorin has just not been cutting it, and Svenskeren has been popping off. But this game would tell you something different. Svenskeren on the front line here so far. Wadid is caught out, picked off, and FlyQuest have to surrender their support.
C9 find their pick with the Twisted Fate here. Able to pop the ultimate. Everybody joins Kled. Ultimate's gonna find the route.
The charge comes around the side. Santorin with the flash away. Pobelter trying to survive here as well. Throws out a nice wind wall, looking to block some projectiles. Pobelter flashes out. Santorin's still gonna be kept alive, but only for a moment. Cloud9 find yet another.
Look at the mid lane though. It is a counter push here from FlyQuest. As soon as that pick happened, they ran straight down the mid lane. They're gonna get a turret in response for the 2 C9 kills.
2 kills for a tier 2 turret. FlyQuest make that trade. They'll get some more control over the map with it. Let's take another look though at how Wadid got caught.
Svenskeren leads the charge, and a Yuumi ultimate able to find the last tick there, landing the stun, allowing the final kill to come in for Nisqy. Gold card arrival with the Twisted Fate. Oh, and then they want to chase down more. They've got the Kled. He actually blocks off this Krug route and then allows them to go through the lane, flash from Santorin. Even though the pullback here from Licorice is able to find him in the end. Summer Spell burned, extra kill acquired. What can they do with it at the moment, though? Still a lot of control wards from FlyQuest sitting around that Baron and leading up to the main objective.
And it was actually 2 turrets taken in the mid lane. I thought that it was only the second one if the first one had fallen a moment ago, but that one went down during that fight as well. 2 turrets for 2 kills. That definitely goes the way of FlyQuest in terms of the overall global trade there, as long as Cloud9 didn't get something like a Baron off the back of it. They did not. So this 9th place team is still looking pretty darn good going up against one of those top table contenders in Cloud9. fine. Definitely check up again here as we're 24 minutes in. Has the Muramana done. Iceborne Gauntlet in the inventory. You can see the Lost Chapter there, likely aiming towards that Luden's Echo. More CDR, more poke potential, and a more AP-heavy build in a composition that does have Kled as another ADC.
Very true. Santorin feeling a lot of that poke right now as he gets hit. The Mystic Shots, the Prowling Projectile, a couple of wild cards there. On the Sejuani with Warmox, though, you just back off and heal right back up. So it's very easy to go do that face check duty, clear out the wards, or at least find out where they are so you can return later. And FlyQuest will sweep into the river, take down a lot of this Cloud9 vision. That is the first step to them pushing this game forward. It's actually fairly difficult for them because of the mobility of C9 with the Twisted Fate ultimate and the Kled ultimate. Cloud9 are doing a good job of tending to their minion waves while also threatening to collapse if FlyQuest do focus on that Baron and focus on starting it up. C9 still can respawn because of the champions that they have.
And remember, this is Cloud9. This is a team that was down 8,000 gold against TSM and found a way back into the game, so you can't ever count them out. Wadid once again jumped on here in the fight, but Pobelter is going to be turning things around. Turtle goes unstoppable, and once again, Cloud9 are in the FlyQuest death ball.
And that's a clean wipe. 5 members down on the side of Cloud9. FlyQuest take the team fight victory. They take the Baron rewards, and they will take so much off of the map. A dragon is spawned. They can go for turrets at the same time. What a massacre here. Look at this. It is C9 looking for the pick onto Wadid once again. He is able to get his ultimate off, plus the shield and aftershock to delay so much of the damage, but the counter engage from FlyQuest is huge. Look at that CC. As soon as Viper gets in too for the extra knockup, Pobelter doesn't even go down. Yasuo able to survive on top of getting the extra kills there. Woo. That's
a sheer clip. Wow. All right, well, Cloud9, they just go too far on the support. Their AD carry gets popped, the rest of the team falls over, and all of a sudden they're staring down the barrel of an 8,500 gold lead. 7,500, excuse me. Gotta make sure I'm accurate here about how quickly FlyQuest is ballooning this lead, because this team's now in an incredible position, Kobe. They've still got 2 tier 2 turrets to take down on the Cloud9 side. That's just freestanding money before they push into the base.
Double Cloud Drake and double Infernal Drake on the side of Cloud9 as well. So all of the Drakes that empower them to go end the game quicker, run down there faster, and also have extra damage when they get there. Right now, they're trying to push 2 lanes at once, make use of the Baron to get mid up to the inhibitor, as well as bottom here being moved up by Viper. And it should allow them, even with the short-range team, to threaten a dive.
FlyQuest need to play this cleanly. This is so often where we see lower-ranked teams falter and fail against higher-ranked teams because they don't know how to cleanly close out the game. The daunting task of approaching the walls with the turrets in the base really puts you in a spot where it's easy to overcommit, easy to overestimate just how far ahead you are. The FlyQuest command a compelling lead. Licorice will continue to maintain his position between the tier 3 and tier 2 turret. Mid lane tier 3 nearly taken down already. Cannon Minions doing a good job contributing to that. Bottom lane tier 2 finally falls, and FlyQuest will maintain the 2-lane push. It's POB mid with the Yasuo continuing to shove those waves out, while the same thing is being done by Viper here in the bottom side.
Okay, if you're on the side of Cloud9, you're looking for an opening to hard engage while they're split, but it's too late. FlyQuest inside the base. The Baron buff did enough damage on that mid turret. There are only 2 autos left, so they just move in and take down the defenses. Now Cloud9 are staring at an inhibitor that's slowly getting whittled away.
Good little bit of poke found its way onto WildTurtle here from C9, but when Turtle can return it like that, Deftly immediately has to be healed up by the Zoomies, which do a good enough job at making sure he's topped off. The Void Seekers continue flying out, and WildTurtle takes down inhibitor number 1. FlyQuest now going to reallocate those resources, keep Pobelter in the mid lane to apply pressure to the Nexus turrets while rotating more bodies towards that southern side. Allow extra pressure to come in with Viper towards this tier 3 in the bottom lane. There are still 15 seconds remaining on Baron, which means if you're making a push, it needs to be this one.
All right, Baron on the tower right now. They go for it!
They're going for the dive. Underneath the turret they go. Svenskeren's going to be on the front line. Santorin going to be soaking a lot of damage. Turtle into the stopwatch, keeping himself alive. Only for a moment as Pobelter goes into the back lines. He'll find the kills he's looking for, and Cloud9 is routed. Licorice still stands, but FlyQuest have control over the game and the C9 base.
Cloud9 don't have much left. Clip, it's Licorice.
Licorice over the wall, stunned up. Just gonna be CC'd here. Santorin will be as obnoxious as he can. Waste Licorice's time. FlyQuest is on to the Nexus turret. And in an upset victory, will take down Cloud9 and keep themselves alive here in this game, in this race for playoffs. We'll see if they can keep it up, because right now, they're looking pretty damn good.
Aggressive champions here for FlyQuest, and the notorious POB goes without a death on that Yasuo.
That was clean.
Outstanding play from him in all of their team fights. Everybody kind of set up to help it out too. They got a bunch of hard CC crowd control on 3 members to start fights. Then Pobelter and WildTurtle with champions to jump in from multiple screens away and clean them up.
Live by the Pob, die by the Pob. When FlyQuest was slumping so hard in the middle of this split, I felt like Pobelter was the one who was most underperforming. And now when they're able to find a win against Cloud9, Pobelter's the man who, in my eyes, popped off the most. Cloud9 suffering a loss here, Deftly in that stage appearance, not able to find the performance to carry this team. He did have a pretty solid laning phase, but afterwards, we didn't see a lot from most of the team, really, throughout the mid game. It wasn't just a Deftly issue. When you look at Nisqy and you look at Svenskeren, these guys that are normally making plays all over the map, it just wasn't there this time.
Yeah, and we can only speculate, but there are always 2 parts to substitutions, right? It's the on-stage performance, you know, your mechanics, how you're playing these lanes, but League of Legends so much is a team game, and the communication and the strategy that goes on within the game, you know, and how that all unfolds with different personalities and how they interact is one of the biggest things that you test when you're trying to test these things.
Well, FlyQuest gotta be feeling good about testing Cloud9's limits and taking them down here. But for more on that one, we're gonna go ahead and throw things over to an interview. Avali is standing by with FlyQuest top laner.
Thanks, Flowers. Viper, congratulations on the win. Where has this FlyQuest been all split?
Honestly, we found our problems right now. Well, most of our problems right now, but you know, we still got a lot of things to work on. We have the gauntlet still motivating us, or like that's what we're looking forward to. So we're just trying our best to get to the best form we can.
So you're looking forward to the gauntlet, but you guys aren't out of playoffs yet. I saw a lot of sad tweets coming from you guys, but if you win all 3 of your last games and then potentially a tiebreaker, you guys could still make it into playoffs.
Yeah, we're looking forward to both, but mainly we're just we're gonna try our best to win every game from here on, because obviously we need to win the next 3. So if we do that, we have a shot at playoffs, I guess, yeah. But we're mainly focused on the gauntlet right now.
All right, I like that, looking forward, but mainly focusing on this game. We're seeing a lot of different top laners come up with the 914 patch, Poppy, and in this game, Kled. So what do you think about the top laners and the meta changing right now?
Honestly, I really like this meta. There's a lot of different picks being picked, like you said. We kind of expected the Kled being picked the moment I locked in Aatrox. Honestly, I saw Impact play Aatrox earlier. I'm like, okay, guys, we're picking Aatrox. Lock it in right now. So we locked it in. We expected the Kled. They locked it in. And I knew their only win condition was to get the Kled ahead. So I just had to not die much, and that was our win condition.
And with the forward-thinking mentality, does beating Cloud9 today give FlyQuest that confidence or maybe that hope to pull off that miracle rest of the split run and make it into that playoffs?
Yeah, I'd say for sure. It's a confidence boost for us, and yeah.
And the last thing I wanted to ask you was, I've seen your practice sessions on stream playing in duoing with the absolute best talent that NA has to offer. You're a 12-year-old challenger brother, so tell me about those duo queue sessions and how that's helping you improve.
Yeah, so honestly, it's always been like during my off time when we're not scrimming. He always messages me, asks me to duo, so I'm like, why not? I always get in calls with him. Well, not always, but sometimes get in calls with him. I teach him some stuff about the game. He's also a Riven main, so it's pretty cool to like teach him what I know. So yeah, it's been fun just playing with him. He's 12, which is insane. But yeah.
So a couple years down the line, are you worried about your position?
In 5 years, I will be. I will be, yeah.
Well, Viper, thank you and congratulations again. And for more on the game, let's hear from the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you, Avali. Congratulations, FlyQuest, for taking down Cloud9 and continuing a bit of an upswing here on the latter half of the summer split. But again, as Viper mentioned, the team is already very much focusing on the gauntlet. While mathematically not impossible for them to make playoffs, they are definitely looking at a very tall mountain to climb with only 3 games remaining in the regular split. But so much of that look towards the gauntlet and workshopping themselves back into form, I think revolves around Santorin. And a Santorin that in spring was a top 3 jungler in North America and largely has not looked like that so far this summer. That changed today, though.
The big thing is that the old Santorin or spring Santorin would gank a bunch, right? He'd be able to find himself affecting the lanes, and then now, at the beginning of summer, we'd had games where legitimately he'd go for 0 ganks in an entire game, and that's just unacceptable. This time around, I think he's accepting that, you know what, I need to just be helping my lanes out a ton more. Was all over the map, ganking mid, top, bottom, constantly, even sacrificing his camps with a level 2 red tabak route. So really just refreshing to see him bringing back what he knew he could do before.
And that's especially why I like that first gank path, because that can be preset. You know, like you don't need to sit there and read the map and try and find the optimal gank. Just say, I'm going to go for this. And as long as it looks somewhat like a real option, you go for it. And that gives him his first gank a lot easier than having to sit there and read it. So I hope they go for a couple more of these kind of preset level 2, 3 ganks to get him jump-started, because once he started this game, he was off to the races.
Right, get the pressure on the map early and then keep it rolling.
I think it is preset because the wave was shoving towards FlyQuest, so they let the wave push in, then wrap
It's
right
a Yuumi
around.
lane. It's going to push, yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt. So yes, early start for Santorin on the map in terms of pressure, and I think in the face of one of the best junglers in the league, Svenskeren, that kind of bodes even better for him. Svenskeren will be kind of the center of our next replay, which is a questionable one for Cloud9 here. A good fight to take, but perhaps a little too quick on the trigger or disrespect.
No vision.
Yeah, well, they actually have okay vision here because they know this is coming off a reset, so they know Kaisa is going to be coming down through the bot lane. If you look at the mini-map, they actually have the inside track from their bot lane. They also are going to be able to TP earlier in on this play. So they're setting up knowing that they're going to get more people to this play on time. The problem is Sven kind of disrespects the Yasuo engage. Yasuo comes flying in so fast, and they combo together. He saw the entire people there. He just didn't think he would die that fast. So even though they kind of get there at similar-ish times, they already are down a man. And so both teams were really on top of what they were trying to do there. The Kaisa as well being able to come in. I mean, it was just a really well-coordinated fight by both teams that I think FlyQuest was able to pull off better with the early kill onto Santorin.
Yeah, perhaps a little disrespectful from Sven by the same token for FlyQuest to pull the trigger like that, recognizing just that moment of, misposition by Svenskeren and the ability of the Yasuo to close along with the 2 CCs.
I've been in a similar situation, and when you're up against a Yasuo, you're usually forgetting that there's so many abilities that can trigger it. The hook from Nautilus, the Arctic Assault from Sejuani, and then you have Yasuo himself with the ultimate from Nautilus too. So the second he got hooked, he's probably thinking, I'm a little bit safe, but it's just so explosive, and that's why it's a very viable champion right now.
Yeah, from there, FlyQuest, we know that this is a team that can navigate a team fight. If they're even or ahead in the mid game, they'll take it.
And this was after C9 had found a lot of kind of side lane pickoff attempts, and then they go for one right in front of the Baron where they're all grouped up on FlyQuest side. So they're able to slam that fight. They had great Drake control. They had 2 Infernals at that point, so they're way stronger in the 5v5, and they completely crushed C9, who were hanging around for a little bit.
Look at that damage coming out of Santorin, actually.
Yeah, Sejuani with the max HP damage, but anytime you have a Twisted Fate that's trying to team fight, you're probably going to lose. It's just not the champion for it, and Yasuo is a really great answer for him. A lot of the times he's able to just win well both the stun, the damage, and then the Ezreal as well. So you get a 2-for-1 on that one. If Nisqy gets a hit on the carries, there's just no counterplay for them because the Jarvan is, again, nowhere near as tanky as what Sejuani brings to the table. This is a very much play to the sidelines, which is why Viper was saying you got to get the Kled ahead because it's just not going to happen bottom lane with Ezreal Yuumi.
I think this is a victory that FlyQuest will be very happy with, and as Viper said, they'll take it as a confidence boost and momentum looking towards that gauntlet, trying to make sure that if they can run the gamut there and head on to Worlds, they'll be able to represent North America proudly. For the side of Cloud9, we're in an interesting position where normally we would have kind of just rampant speculation around the substitution, why exactly it's happening, and whether or not it was worthwhile. But interestingly, we had the opportunity to talk to Rupert, and so he kind of laid out for us a little bit the logic behind it all, which is that, okay, if we've decided that we will be using Blabber to some degree in a 6 to 7 man roster in playoffs and still have one slot to fill, we're essentially deciding between Kumo for Licorice as a sub or Deftly for Sneaky as a sub. And so, what is our thought here with that logic or that context?
Well, I thought it was really interesting as well. He said no Golden Glue wasn't even in the consideration, which speaks to how well Nisqy is playing.
True.
Because Golden Glue's doing fine in Academy. Yeah. So that speaks to how important he is, that they're more concerned either about Licorice's risks. Maybe that's why, because I don't think Kumo would start over Licorice in any circumstance outside of an injury.
So I think that the reason why is Deftly is a new acquisition to Cloud9, and this is a team that plays a lot with their Academy team. We've seen multiple players have the time to play on the LCS stage. So because Deftly is new, you also want to include him with the rest of the Academy team being subbed in and out. Now, whether this lasts to the rest of the split, we're going to have to see. But I think that you at least give him the respect of being on the Cloud9 Academy team to have a shot at playing LCS.
But what's interesting to me is it's not like they've done that with everyone. Golden Glue hasn't got a game this split. Diamond hasn't got a game this split. So it does still indicate that this isn't just like, hey, we give everyone a shot here at C9.
Does Deftly bring anything that Sneaky doesn't?
Yes. So
Draven?
No. In Draven, Sneaky can't play Draven, but in Academy just 2 days ago, Deftly was playing Swain bottom lane. They played a Swain Pike bottom lane, so he might have a different champion pool than Sneaky. And he also played Misfortune yesterday, which we haven't seen Sneaky play this split. So
yeah, he played the Heimerdinger too way back. So
that's true.
I don't know. Maybe it's finding the best option of the 7 people, and if Licorice is gonna be healthy, Nisqy is a key point in the mid lane. Like, what's the next best piece you can try and find? Yeah, it's not necessarily like one person's playing bad.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. In a world where Licorice is perfectly healthy, I don't see how you could possibly sub him out, or any reason why you would do that. And so therefore, yes, I'm looking more at a bot lane that has seemed to struggle throughout this year for Cloud9. And so we'll see what the decision is when the time comes. But for now, we're heading to a break. When we return, it's Golden Guardians versus 100 Thieves. Meet us back here for Game 3 after this.